In towns and villages all over France, people are preparing to commemorate the 100th anniversary of La Grande Guerre, the First World War. Within weeks of war breaking out in August 1914, France became the principal battleground of a dreadful conflict that drew in all the great powers of Europe. The war continues to resonate today, a symbol of unity at a time when national morale is at a low ebb, sapped by a prolonged economic crisis.
Paris is at last in German hands.
Unlike in 1940, when France collapsed in the face of Nazi onslaught in the space of a few weeks, the country resisted German invasion in 1914 and emerged 4 years later, bloodied and battered, but victorious. The suffering was enormous. 1.4 million French soldiers died during the war, touching almost every family in the land. Everywhere you go in France, you find monuments like this one to the fallen, bearing the legend, Mort pour la France, died for France. A key clash early in the war was the First Battle of the Marne in September 1914, when French and British troops stopped the German army from breaking through to Paris. The government had retreated to Bordeaux as German forces reached within 40 kilometres of the capital. The battle, marked by this huge monument where some of the bloodiest fighting took place, was a turning point. As it says in the local museum here, the victory showed that France could resist what was previously regarded as an invincible enemy. The Western Front was to turn into an attritional trench warfare that lasted for another 4 years. But here at Mont-de-Mont, France had been saved from being overrun.
If you compare to what happened to France in 1940, the fall of France, as would say Julian Jackson, the British historian, the Great War was from a military perspective, something more positive. There were huge, tremendous losses, of course. Again, 1.4 million soldiers were killed, but France went through this tragedy, and the French army felt that they won the war in 1918.
100 years later, public interest in the Great War is running high. Hundreds of people flocked to a reproduction of a wartime camp in the Tuileries Gardens in Paris, held on Bastille Day in July. Thousands of families have contributed to a national collection of private mementos, including letters from soldiers at the front, uniforms and other artefacts. A recently opened Museum of the Great War at Meaux, east of Paris, where the Germans came closest to the capital, contains a huge display of material on every aspect of the conflict. As France struggles to overcome a lingering economic crisis, the question now is whether the memories of the war can help revive a spirit of unity and resolve.
Mais la Grande Guerre, je pense qu'elle signifie toujours des combats pour notre liberté et puis des combats qui ont engagé beaucoup de soldats qui ne sont jamais revenus dans les familles. Je pense que le centenaire redonne de l'espoir aux Français parce qu'on s'est bien relevé des deux guerres et avec des crises aussi très dures, et les Français pensent, je pense qu'ils pensent qu'on pourra se relever derrière également. Les commémorations favoriseront, disons, le début d'une ère nouvelle.
One person who certainly agrees with Monsieur Tellier is President François Hollande, who will visit Mont-de-Mont in September. He hopes that the events marking the 100th anniversary will help give his record-low approval ratings a lift. That remains to be seen, but the centenary is an important moment of reflection in France. The First World War is often portrayed as a futile massacre. But in France, La Grande Guerre evokes a sense of pride about a time when the nation came together to overcome a profound and murderous challenge. Hugh Carnegy, Financial Times, Paris.